Hello, everybody, and welcome to How Would I Judge Drag Race España Season 3. This season was, we can call it a bit of a doozy, right? I mean, that is what it was. I mean, as always with Drag Race España, the queens were amazing. The challenges were also really fun. But this season, the judging was questionable. I think we can all of us can say questionable. Even those of us who are happy with how it went, it is questionable. I wasn't like it was bad. It was for sure bad. Was it necessarily as bad as some of people on social media were making it out to be? No, because the season was still enjoyable as it was. But yeah, we need to talk about it. So today, we're going to be going over how I, myself, the person you are watching, would choose to judge Drag Race España Season 3. The rules to remember, as always, are that the season has to be as long as the season originally was, which is 11 episodes. 9 competitive episodes, and then a reunion, and then a finale. So there's going to be, 9 standard competitive someone gets eliminated episodes in this season. Which, I mean, I appreciate that with the format, there is the chance where just everybody can go home, or one person goes home each There is the chance where one person could just go home each episode, like a standard, elimination order. But they didn't even do that on this season, and it just felt odd. Also, the performances and the challenges need to be based off of how well someone did or how people would predict they would do. So I'm not just going to put somebody in the top when they were originally in the bottom, or vice versa, unless there is great fan support for that being the case. Example, Electra Shock in the Girl Groups Challenge of Drag Race Down Under Season 1. She was the bottom 2, but the majority of people think she should have been in the top 4 won the challenge. The goal of this is to act as if I'm the head judge and craft the season however... Fucking shit. The goal of this video is to act as if I'm the head judge and craft the season however I can imagine to make it as fun and eventful as possible, while also being fair with my judging of the season by combining my own personal tastes and what was shown to us on the show. You can tell me that my opinion is stupid in the comments if you want to. I'm not going to stop you. But I will call your opinion stupid back. So, in episode 1, we had the talent show. Now, originally, the winner of the challenge was Bestia, which I kept the same. I thought her performance was great. She really moved through the different elements of the performance really nicely, and if you've seen my other videos of this, I'm a sucker for the more punky drag aesthetics in general, so Bestia's aesthetic really fits right up my alley, and the way that she performed that was just so fucking good. It was amazing. And then originally, the high placements went to Ornella Gongora and Paquita. I took Paquita down off of the high placement, and I moved Clover up to the high placement. I didn't think Paquita's was bad. I just wished that there was more levels. It kind of was, it really had the same energy all the way throughout. And while it was impressive, she was pole dancing, it's a talent. I just wasn't as enthralled by the performance as I was with Clover's. But Paquita was my 4th place in this challenge, so good for Paquita still. And Ornella did a great job. I mean, she floating in the little chair thing, I think is what she was doing. It was just, it was great. I fucking love Ornella. I love so many of the contestants on this season. I'm gonna gush about all of them at different points, but that's for a later, And you know what? I'm sorry you all have to deal with that. Now, originally there were 4 bottom placements, which I kind of get why they did that, because there were 4 performances in which something went wrong with them. And so I get why they did that, but I decided to make it 3. Now, originally the bottom 2 were Maria Adelia and Drag Chuchi. I decided to move Chuchi up to the safe because I thought her, this mistake was not very egregious. Like, it was a slight outfit, like, malfunction. That was really it. Like, Kelly, like, trips and falls. Like, Kelly fully trips and falls, you know? Maria also trips. Okay, to say Kelly fell is an understatement, because, like, she did trip. She didn't actually fall. She shaved herself, but whatever. But you know what I mean. Like, they made, like, actual mistakes in regards to their performance in real time. Drag Chuchi's mistake was just that her outfit wasn't, like, positioned correctly, or maybe, you know, the part of her leotard that, you know, like, went around her groin and stuff. Why the fuck did I use the word groin? Why did I say groin? The part of her leotard that, like, you know, went around her junk, let's use that feels better for some reason. She probably should have been, like, a thicker piece of fabric. Or, you know, she should have, like, tucked better, you know? Like, that's not crazy. That's just a slight outfit malfunction. That isn't, like, nothing of her actual performance of the substance of it was wrong. Same with the Macarenas. I mean, well, I guess the Macarenas was kind of just, like, not. The energy was not there, and it was like, okay, what are we doing next? You know, it was kind of lagging on a bit. But I think the two that made actual genuine mistakes should have been the bottom two. So that's why Kelly Roller and Maria Delia are the bottom two of the episode. And I put the Macarena as low because I thought, you know, hers was an actual, like, you know, she did that. Like, she actively, in that performance, wasn't giving enough. Whereas Drag Chuchi did a fine performance. She just, you know, had an outfit malfunction. Kelly and Maria are going to lip sync to Despecha by Rosalia. And Kelly is most likely going to do better than Maria and is going to win the lip sync, which means Maria is still the first out of the season. Sorry to Miss Maria Delia. She is amazing though. I fucking love her. I love her beat. Her face is just so fucking good. It's just like, chef's kiss. I unironically am obsessed with her little brown turtleneck. I love that. I love when the queens do that. Like Ginger Minge, Maria, I wanna add, can we add like a running list of queens who wear a brown turtleneck of foundation like under their chin, because there's just something about it that it feels so camp, so drag. It's just perfect to me. I don't know why I'm obsessed with it. I didn't realize how much I liked it till I'm spewing my fucking mouth right now. But you know, I'm gonna stick by it. Episode 2, we have ourselves the Girl Groups Challenge, which is too fucking early for a Girl Groups Challenge. Let's just start there. Like 12 people? No. I think the most you can do a girl groups with is 9. If you split them into groups of 3, that feels like that's manageable to me. You know what I mean? 10 is too much, I think. I mean, we have seen 10 be fine. Like, what was it? All Stars 3? That worked out just fine. But not really. I think 9 is like my personal max. And also, it didn't really come across as girl groups. Like, they didn't have like verses. So it's like, what are we doing here? Like, they're essentially just doing a dance routine. But regardless, I kept all the placements the same, except Pink Shadora is not going to get the win here. It's going to be Clover Bish. Clover, I mean, really was the star of her team, and her team did better, so it makes complete sense that she should win this. I do think Pink Shadora did the second best in this challenge. The little pulling out the bread gag was funny. Like, where the fuck did the bread come from? Very much Jasmine Masters. How'd you get a loaf of bread? It's so fun. I love it. That was just like a short gag in like the whole of this challenge, where Clover had more time, where she stood out and did amazing. So Clover's gonna get the win here, as she deservedly did. And Clover Bish is a fucking icon. Let's just talk about Clover Bish for a second. I've been obsessed since the second we've been revealed to her. The fact, I mean, she is truly she was doing drag for like, what, 8 months or something? From the time that she filmed the season, and she very reasonably could have won it. We'll get to that later. And also being like the second cis woman ever to be on RuPaul's Drag Race. the second cis woman ever to be on RuPaul's Drag Race. Clover Bish is an icon, and if she doesn't win or fucking get, like, she's got to be on some international season, right? Like, maybe España All-Stars, maybe versus the world. I don't give a shit. I just want her on my television already, again. And the season's still airing from the time I'm filming this. The reunion came out a couple days ago. But I still want her back on my screen. So fucking bad. So the bottom two are going to be Vanya Vania and Drag Tucci, and they are going to lip sync to La Noche Es Para Mí by Soraya. And I think Vanya will still win this because it's the same matchup, and Vanya, I think, won it originally. There's really nothing else to say about that. Episode 3, we have ourselves the Ball Challenge. Now, I saw a decent amount of discourse between this episode and the next one that Paquita should have won the episodes over Petita. We'll get to the next episode, in a minute. But for this Ball Challenge, I feel like Petita won. I mean, the fucking windmill and the fucking squid were just, they were the best looks of the category. And if you've already got 2 out of the 3, then just give the win there. And honestly, in the third category, she was like, I think, my 4th favorite? I wrote it all down. Yeah, I was right. She was my 4th favorite. So, she really killed this challenge. For this, I kept all the top placements the same. Petita still wins. Bestia and Paquita are going to be high. I did change up the bottom placements, though. Originally, Clover Bish was low for this challenge, but I just didn't see that. I thought Vanya did worse. I fucking love Vanya Vania. She is just like a bundle of joy. She's just so, she's like a 40-year-old man, and I want to pinch her cheeks. And I don't understand, but I'm obsessed with her. But she did not do a great job in this challenge. I really, her second look, while it had this, it was had a reveal and everything. It was just revealing into just a tube dress. And it's okay, what are we doing here exactly? And her last look wasn't 100%. Neither was her first. Neither were 100% to me. I thought Clover had a great last look. Her first 2 looks were on the weaker side of the field, for sure. But I think with that final look, that really, was a shining, light of that category. I feel like that should have saved her from the bottom, when Vanya, I feel had 3 looks that were all hovering, just, below middle of the pack, out of the 11, somewhere from the 7th to 9th range of all these looks, in my opinion. But Vanya's going to be low here. The bottom 2 do stay the same. It is going to be Kelly Roller and Chanel NRX. And they're going to lip sync to Genie in a Bottle in Spanish by Christina Aguilera. And Kelly wins this, for sure. I wish Chanel did better. I love her aesthetic too. She fits in a similar line of this aesthetic that I enjoy, of Bestia. She fits in a similar line of Bestia with this aesthetic that I just really gravitate towards, that I like looking at in drag. But she did worse in the lip sync, straight up, and she did worse. She didn't do the worst in the challenge. She did second worst, I think. I think Kelly did worse than she did. And arguably Vanya did worse than she did. I struggled between putting Chanel as low and Vanya in the bottom 2, but I was I think I'm putting too much of my own feelings into this of wanting to save Chanel. So, Chanel, I think, did deserve the bottom and did end up in the scenario in real life and in the scenario is gonna go home. Now, episode 4 was the acting challenge of the season, and I kept every placement the same. I don't speak Spanish. I was watching the whole season with subtitles. So, a lot of the humor and the intricacies, I think a lot of the humor and the intricacies of, the content within this acting challenge were just lost on me. Because a lot of the nuance of, the jokes can be taken out with the subtitles. And so I really kind of just trusted the show with this. I look at just watching the performances, I do still think Petita was my favorite. I really liked it. I liked the character she put on. Bakita, I mean, did a full body transformation, and I really respect her for that. The look was on point, but she didn't really have much in terms of content for the challenge. So I still put Petita as the winner. The Macarena and Paquita are high. Visa is going to place low, and Cloverbish and Kelly Roller are going to be the bottom two. They're going to lip sync to I'm Mama by Rigoberta Bandini, and definitely Clover won this. And this is also the 3rd out of 4 episodes that Kelly Roller's in the bottom 2 for, so sorry to Kelly. Let's talk about Kelly Roller for a second. It's ridiculous that she made the finale in real life, and I don't think she's winning the season. If she does, I don't know, what would I do? I would post a face reveal. How about that? I'll hold myself to it because I know it's not going to happen. But Kelly, I think, unjustly got a decent chunk of the hate throughout the season. Like, yeah, should Kelly have gone home in the final 6? Absolutely. Should Kelly have been brought back? I mean, I think Clover would have brought her back anyway, so it didn't really matter who won that challenge, the stand-up challenge, but regardless. I don't know how to feel about Kelly Roller. I really don't. Like, I like the roller skating. I like that she is like a solid thing that like is her brand, but also like, why are you wearing one roller skate during an acting challenge? Girl, take off the roller skate. I just am like, dude, I can't. Is it like glued to her foot? That's how I respect the commitment to a brand, and I don't feel like she deserves like a third as much. No, I'm gonna say I think she deserves half of the backlash that she's been getting. Half feels more fair to me. But like, regardless, Kelly Roller's an enigma to me, and I don't know how to feel about her at all. Okay, episode 5 is going to be the Snatch game, and this is another one where it's like, okay, we're doing comedy in a language I don't speak, but this challenge is definitely easier because there are set questions and set responses, and so I can follow along much easier than I could in just like an acting challenge where they're talking about stuff, but the nuance is lifted because it's being lifted from it because it's being translated. They're answering prompts, so I can judge whether they're answering a prompt well, and I can also judge whether they're, acting like, are they volleying off of other contestants well, you know what I mean? So for this, originally Pink Shadora won, and I feel bad yanking another challenge win from Pink Shadora, but I moved her down to safe. The impression was great. I looked up Luisa Flores? Shit, what the fuck is her name? I looked up Lola Flores after the challenge because everybody in the episode was saying how good of an impression she was doing. And yeah, she was doing a great impression. Like, there's no denying that. And so maybe I should have moved her up to high over Visa. I can see that being maybe one of the couple things that I might change. But in terms of an actual Snatch Game performance, she just kind of was talking a lot and over others a bit. And it just, like, yeah, it's a great impression, but is it a great Snatch Game? It was my 4th favorite Snatch Game in the episode. So I decided to knock her down from the win to the safe and keep all the other 3 contestants that were in the top, because there were 4 in the top in this episode originally. Which, like, yeah, 4 people did a pretty good job, so I get why they did 4, but it's like, you just do the 3, When there's I feel like there's a decently clear reason to choose ones over the others. Ornella and Vanya played off each other super well in this challenge, but Ornella was the star to me. I mean, she just, I don't want to say filthy, because that feels rude, but she just, not filthy in like an actual filth way, filthy in like, like a camp way of like, oh, she's just making this character kind of be a dick, and it's really funny. And I just really appreciate the performance. I think this is one of those that you could potentially even do a Vanya and Ornella double win, because they volleyed off each other so much in the Snatch game. Like, their characters were really intertwined, but I decided Ornella was funnier, I feel like, and so I decided to just give the win to Ornella and keep Vanya and Visa as high. Now, originally Bastia was low instead of Betita. I decided to switch that because I liked Bastia's performance more. The voice that she did for her character, Bastia's character, was like so funny to me. Like it was like a ridiculous level that really made me laugh. And Betita really never got there for me. She had one joke, I think, that I laughed at, but it just, in comparison, like, it wasn't a bad Snatch game by any means. Like, it was a pretty whatever Snatch game in terms of the grand scheme of Snatch games, but in this Snatch game, she was my third least favorite, so she goes in the low placement. Paquita and the Macarena are going to lip sync to Desatame by Monica Naranjo, and Paquita wins this for sure. I wish the Macarena was a more solid performer as a whole. I mean, I haven't seen any performances of her outside of Drag Race, so she could really just turn it the fuck out when she's not, on a stage to be seen worldwide. But I wish we got to see better lip syncs from the Macarena, because I really think that she could have stayed and done some fucking damage if she had the chance, because she showed that she could be great at the acting and, not half bad at a decent amount of other things. So sad to see the Macarena go early, but I do like that we're getting a returning contestant storyline that doesn't feel too forced in one way or another in terms of how far they go. Like the fact that the Macarena was a middle out of the season, did okay in some challenges, did good in some, did not great in others, had a very average track record, is something that we never really see for contestants that return from previous seasons onto other main seasons, not All Stars. So I really appreciate that we kind of got that in this season. Episode 6 is going to be the Rusical episode, and this is where we go a bit off the rails, let's just say. Now, originally, Petita won this challenge, and I disagree, frankly. She was I would say my third favorite overall. She should have been in the top still, I think. But I think Bastia murdered this. I think she cleared it. She had no issues with me. I fucking loved it. She did amazing. She was originally just safe, which shocks me. She should have been in the top. Originally, Vanya was in the top, and I took her out for Bastia. Put Bastia the win, because I really think she did that much better. Vanya's, I wish there were more levels to it. Bastia had levels. She was up and down, up and on the floor. She really served it to me. I kept Ornella as high, and because I made Bastia win, Petita obviously moves down to a high placement as well. Now, originally, Paquita was low, and Cloverbish and Visa were in the bottom 2 for this episode. I kept Paquita as low, but Pink Shadora, who was originally safe, I dropped straight down to the bottom 2. And I decided to swap Pink Shadora with Cloverbish. I thought Cloverbish did great. I felt like her jokes landed. I got all of her jokes. I loved it. And honestly, this isn't something that really anybody can control, but just her voice and the way that she's able to project is so perfect to me for a musical. It captivates me. Just her voice. The way that she projects and says it with every line, I'm like, oh my god, it just fits perfectly to me. And I mean, for it to be I'm putting her safe because of her literal voice that she was born with, isn't great. I still think she did much better than bottom 2. She could have been low. We can say that if we want to. No, I'm gonna stick to my convictions. I feel like Paquita and Visa, with having lower amounts of screen time, did not use them as well as they could have, and Pink Shadora messed up the choreo. So those are 3 reasons why they should be in the bottom over Cloverbish, and I really don't have a reason why Cloverbish should be in the bottom, so I don't know, sue me. Pink Shadora early on in the Rusical did mess up parts of the choreo, and that is really the only true mess up, I believe. I'm not gonna lie, there is some of the judges' deliberation and critique segments that I just did not watch because I didn't care to. Some of them I did, like the acting challenge I certainly did because I wanted to make sure that, like, you know, I wasn't missing out on jokes and shit. But for this Rusical, I feel like I had my convictions made. So the bottom two are going to be Visa and Pink Shadora. So Visa and Pink Shadora are going to lip sync to Dime by Beth, and I think Visa would have won this. Visa did a good job initially, did lose to Clover Bish, but still did a pretty damn good job. While as the lip sync that we saw originally in the next episode with Pink Shadora in it, she didn't do a stellar job, so I would assume that Visa would do better. So our first big change of the season, change in elimination, Pink Shadora is going to leave here in 8th place. And we're gonna move on. Now, this is the episode where I need you all to stick with me here. Originally, we had a comeback contestant in Kelly Roller, which was fun, I liked it. But that did necessitate 2 people being eliminated in the episode, because then you would have entered the finale with 5 people, and then what do you do? Like, what are we, Drag Race Season 14? No, I'm not gonna do that. And I just didn't like the fact that eliminating 2 people in a single episode for nothing that they personally did wrong. Like, I mean, well, I guess they did technically do something wrong because they did land in the bottom 3 and they didn't know that 2 people would be eliminated. But like, to just change up the format like that when originally one of these people definitely could have been safe is just, I don't like it. I really don't. So we're not going to be doing the comeback. No contestant is coming back. It was just not happening. Instead, in this final 7, we are going to be having ourselves a standard comedy routine challenge. No duos, it's just going to be a standard comedy situation. Now, there was immense public outcry that Clover Bish should have won the challenge, and with the setup, I do think Clover Bish could have won the challenge, but I decided to keep the win for Vanya. I really liked Vanya's performance. I really, really liked it. An issue I had with Clover's is because she was the MC, all of her jokes were split up across the entirety of the thing. And so it really was harder to see her performance as like a full package to me. And she did a great job of picking up on shit that people said in the performances and making jokes out of it. And I think she would still do that in this scenario. But regardless, I think due to the role that she had to play in this, I think Vanya did better. I just liked Vanya's content more. I'm sorry, don't kill me. But Vanya is gonna win here. Cloverbish and Bestia are gonna place high. It was a difficult choice between putting Bestia or Ornella as the high placement and the other as the safe. But I decided to put Bestia as the high. I just thought she did a little bit better, but I mean, they both did great. I think the top 3 of this, or the top 4, I guess, of this challenge, all did a great job. Now, Visa originally was in this challenge, but not as the actual competitor. Visa was paired with Petita. I think with this comedy situation, I don't think Petita and Paquita really ever had or knew exactly where they were going to go. But I think with Visa, with the way that it seemed like she was kind of the one who was spearheading the concept with her and Petita, and I can imagine her with her comedy performance maybe doing like a harsh kind of roast situation that has actual content but maybe just doesn't land correctly. That's why I'm choosing to put her as the low placement over Petita and Paquita. But with this 3 of Petita, Visa, and Paquita in this challenge, I think you could say reasonably any combination of 2 of the 3 of them could be the bottom 2 of the episode. And I would be like, yeah, sure. I think there's genuine merit to really saying that about any of them. So I personally put Petita and Paquita in the bottom 2 just because I feel like they would do worse. But again, if you put Visa in the bottom 2 over one of them, good on you. But Petita and Paquita are going to be lip syncing, and they're going to be lip syncing to No Controles by Ole Ole, and Petita won this lip sync for sure. She did the best out of the three, just hands down, originally, when it was her, Paquita, and Pink Shadora. Also, putting three people with P names in the bottom three, kind of iconic, but also kind of annoying. But yeah, Paquita just didn't have the energy exactly as much as I would have liked it to be. I feel like Petita matched the vibe a bit more with her performance, so Petita is gonna stay here. Now we move on to our little, improv acting challenge of Un, dos, tres, responda otra vez. And originally, this challenge was not judged in the teams that they were put in, when I feel like it probably should have been. That just kind of makes sense to me. So Petita and Cloverbish are both going to win this episode. They were the best duo, I think. Ornella in this universe will be paired with Visa instead of Kelly. And as we saw, Visa wasn't 100% with the comedy kind of challenge that we had the week before. But I think with the other group being Bestia and Vanya, I still think they would do better. So Ornella and Visa are going to be safe. And Vanya Vania and Bestia are going to be the bottom two of the episode. And I think Bestia would win this. We saw Vanya win a lip sync earlier in the season, but she wasn't, it wasn't, groundbreaking. That sounds so mean. That's not what I meant. I love Vanya. But, she did better in her original lip sync, but she didn't, smash it out of the park. It wasn't the best lip sync of the season. I think Bestia did a good enough job in this lip sync originally that she would end up doing better than Vanya if she was included. Within this. So I think Bestia is going to stay and Vanya is going to leave. I'm filming this section of the video before the finale airs, and I think just over 24 hours. I'm currently rooting for Vanya. I would love Vanya to win. I hope she does. I would be so happy because Vanya's great. But sadly, in this scenario, I do think Vanya would leave. But the amount of time I spent talking about how much there's something I'm obsessed with about Vanya. The amount of time I spent talking about it, it's this isn't a happy decision. This is more of a realistic decision. Okay, the final five, the makeover. We are entering with Visa and Bestia here instead of Vanya Vania and Kelly Roller here. So we really only know exactly how three of them would do, but Bestia did post what her looks would have been, I believe, on Instagram with her sister, and those looks were fire. They were really good. I mean, obviously the pressures of the competition and the available resources, make it so that Bestia could have maybe done, just fine or not good, But I still think this, with what we saw, what she posted, and with her track record with the other design challenges of the season, aka she was high for the ball challenge, I think that Bestia could definitely turn this out. So I've decided, since Vanya's not here, and the wind either will go to Bestia or Petita, I decided to give it to Petita. I really liked her outfits, and I think she deserves it. I think she would have done better. She's still gonna get 4 wins in this timeline. I'm sorry. And Bestia is gonna place high here. Now the question is, how would Visa do? Visa was safe for the original ball, and I completely agree with that. But I just don't know how she would do in this challenge. I'm flip-floppy. I'm flip-floppy on this. I think there's a genuine chance that she would just be safe here, but I decided to put her in the bottom two, also because I think having a lip sync still in this scenario with Cloverbish and Visa would be really interesting to see. I would really like it. So I decided that Ornella is going to be safe and is actually going to place low here. Now, in a final five, I would usually do a win high, safe, and then a bottom two, but Ornella did bad enough that I think it deserves a low. And the bottom two is going to be Cloverbish and Visa. And I think Cloverbish would win this, as she did win the lip sync against Visa originally to the other song that they lip synced to. Now, to kind of go over what the different changes in the storylines would be this season, I think we would definitely get more of a storyline of, originally Cloverbish, she came in having done drag for the least amount of time out of everybody, also being the youngest contestant on the cast. I think we would get to see more of a redemption storyline for her. Not a redemption in terms of like she's actually redeeming herself, but really as more of like a rising above the expectations that are initially set for her. Where she, is able to win a challenge right off the gate, but is still kind of underestimated, but is still able to get through the competition with 2 wins and 2 bottom, still 2 bottom 2s. With 2 wins and winning 2 lip syncs along the way, doing a pretty solid job all the way throughout. I think it would be a more satisfying storyline for her, so I would say. And also, I also think in this universe we get slightly less of this like everybody has something they don't like about Petita narrative with the fans and with the contestants. Because I think, we're switching out a win that was pretty controversial to a win that I feel like in this scenario would definitely be deserved. And also, we're giving her an additional placement in the bottom with a low placement for the Snatch game. So it would feel a bit more balanced for sure. And I think some of that kind of drama would be mitigated in a sense. Ornella finally gets a challenge win this season. So we actually, have a reason for Ornella. This is going to sound mean, but I'm going to explain what I mean. We actually have a reason for Ornella being there. Because Ornella's a great character throughout the season, in my opinion, but she just doesn't win anything. And she's only in the bottom 2 at the very end, and she survives it. So it's like, in terms of actual competition, it's like, what is Ornella doing? But now finally Ornella has a purpose. And so in this, scenario, Ornella would actually kind of feel like it, she makes more sense continuing to slay in this competition. We also get Bestia not being shafted at the end. We get a better storyline with that. I feel like that's a positive. And we get to see Visa for longer, which I think is definitely more fun. But I still think she still gets a bit shafted in the way that I chose to do this. So sorry to Visa for that. And yeah, I think everything else stays decently similar. I mean, Vanya goes earlier, but I don't think that really changes much of her storyline, so to say. I mean, it's literally 1 episode, so... I mean, unless she wins the season, then it would definitely change it, but, I guess we'll find out shortly whether that's the case. I guess not I will. I'll find that out. I'm not going to talk about the reunion, really, just because I really don't think much of it pertains to this. I guess in this scenario, Visa would not be able to win the cash for the, unseen look prize, so to say. Because in the scenario, Visa would have been present for every episode up until that point, so there wouldn't be a need for that. I do think in this scenario, the person who would probably win that would probably be Chanel and Rex. So, good for Chanel. But that is kind of all I have to say about it. So let's move on to this finale, and you're going to be catching my reaction to it very shortly after it happens. So we'll see what that is. Okay, so I just finished watching the finale of the season like an hour ago, and it was a pretty standard Drag Race finale. I wasn't overwhelmed by how great it was. I wasn't like, this is bad. It was a very standard finale format. But this finale does give us some clues as to how the finale in this situation would be working out. We did get to see the performances of Petita and Ornella, and through those performances and through the fact that Bestia and Cloverbish had also done pretty well in performance challenges throughout this season, I think if I was the judge, Ornella at this point has the second worst track record, and I do think with this group she would have done the worst in the challenge. And so I think with the fact that, she only has 1 win, has kind of been safe throughout a good chunk of the season, I think I would probably choose to get rid of Ornella here before that final lip sync. and Petita, Bestia, and Cloverbish would all move on to the final lip sync here. And in my scenario, we'll get to the track records on the next slide here in a second. But even though Petita has 4 wins over Bestia's 2, they actually have the same track record in terms of points with the point system I use. They're currently tied with the track records that I gave them. So realistically, they are basically the same, and I do think with this challenge and with the final lip sync that we had in this season, I do really think any of them could succeed. And I think with this, I would probably choose Bestia as my winner, but I think I could reasonably choose Petita as my winner as well. I don't know if I would choose Cloverbish. She just didn't do as good enough in the competition as I feel like, would be good enough for me to crown her. Like, she has the worst track record in this scenario going into the finale. And while she is a fucking icon, I just feel like, with this format, if you're gonna give the win to the person who had done the worst throughout the season, then it doesn't sit right in my stomach to me. So I think I would personally give it to Bestia, but I would not be opposed to giving it to Petita in this situation, because they're literally tied. But I think I prefer Bestia, so I would probably give it to her in this scenario. As you can see, here are the track records for the season. You can look over those if you so choose, if that's your vibe, if that's your style. But that is going to be it for this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you wish. Leave your thoughts, feelings, and opinions down below. As always, I will have my Twitter handle down in the description if you want to go follow me there. I want to give a special thanks to my friend who is editing this video for me. First video on this channel that I'm not editing myself. Leave him some love in the comments on how good of a job he did, because I know he's going to do a good job. Is this edit going to be complimentary to me? Is it going to make me look like a fool? Who knows? But again, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, take care. Bye-bye.